Dundalk TV has received some very disappointing news this evening. I learned back in June that my friend was attacked at the gas station on Hollenberg and Dundalk Avenue, and that he had died. So my friend and I, Adam Reuter, put together a video about what transpired that day. And we were doing our best to keep this in the public eye because we didn't want to see this swept under the carpet like all too many things happen in the Baltimore area, whether it be Baltimore City or Baltimore County. So Stan's brother had called me tonight and let me know that there was a deal on the table right now that wouldn't be able to be taken back, that was offered. And Herb is standing by, and he's going to let you know in his own words what happened and where things are headed.
The state's attorney contacted my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, and informed her that they had sent a plea deal to the lawyer of the defendant, Jayden Simpson, that he would get 10 years probation, 5 years supervised probation, and 90 days in jail. And it's quite stunning and very heartbreaking. It was just a courtesy call, I was told from the state's attorney, to her that this deal had been offered and they were waiting for him to accept it, and I being told that this was pushed down on the state's attorney by Mr. Ivan Bates. And I know that there was a video that came out that only partially showed what happened. And I was instructed when he died to stay away from the media because I was going to taint the jury pool. That's what the state's attorney told me. And now I'm finding out, well, they never planned on going to a jury, and they just didn't want me out there telling people that this video that they're showing was stopped at the point my brother was punched in the face with his hands down by his side, and that if the video would have been continued, which Channel 11, I assume, didn't want to show, they tell you might find this disturbing, which people would have found it disturbing, that this guy, 18 years old, struck my 61-year-old brother, basically leading to his death, stood over top of him, taunted him, spit on him, and then ran away with two other accomplices that were standing by that weren't charged at all. The initial charge, even though everyone had told, well, not everyone, the detective had told my sister-in-law that my brother was pretty much dying at the time, the dude was initially charged with second-degree assault, was arrested, released. The charge was changed when they had to, my brother wasn't going to make it. So he was brain dead, and they had to turn off the machines that were keeping him alive. So when he died the following day, then they upped it to involuntary manslaughter and released him again. The dude's never been in jail for this. And now to find out that, like I said, an 18-year-old man can hit a 61-year-old man, kill him, and spend 90 days in jail, it's just, I just don't see anywhere where you can call this justice. And I don't see how anybody can come to can see what happened or hear what happened, be aware of what happened, and say that this is justice, this is fair, this is what our state's attorney wants to happen to somebody. You know what I mean? In this system that we're in, that is obviously broken. This is not. I don't know. I'm stunned. I just found this out this evening, and I really, at this point, there's nothing else I can do to speak up for my brother, to tell his side of the story. And I mean, that's pretty much pretty much how I feel.
Well, to me, this is as close as you can get to getting out of jail for free for murder. So, I mean, I don't know how much more egregious a decision could be made. And I don't know how they didn't give you an offer, but as I had said prior, in prior conversation, that if you would have had a lawyer, they probably would have had to give it to the lawyer, but because they were dealing with just family members, they just rammed this through.
They convinced us at our initial meeting that she attended, my wife attended, my brother's stepchildren attended, my sister attended, her husband attended. We were all there. They convinced us that, man, they were out for justice. They were going to do right. You know, that anything that we could do would be more harm than good, that we needed to just step aside and let them do their job. And we did, and we saw what a sorry job they did. You know what I mean?
That's a little bit more information that I didn't know, because the information is not out there for us to actually, you know, look at and put something together. So I'm glad you shared that. But you had also said they told your sister-in-law. What did they tell her?
They had to push to get involuntary manslaughter. They wanted that from the beginning, and they were talked down to make it assault, second-degree assault. And then when he passed, this is secondhand information. I can only go by what conversations that I have heard, is that they wanted murder, but they were talked down to involuntary manslaughter. The detectives were very disappointed, from what I can understand, in the very beginning, when he was just charged with second-degree assault. I mean, we couldn't believe that even before he passed. You know what I mean? I feel like everybody has a boss. And if your boss, in this case, I hold more to Ivan Bates than anybody else, I feel like he made a poor decision, is sweeping it under the rug, and nobody has the power to stop him. You know what I'm saying? There was two other people there that never got charged. Somebody was driving the car, pulled into the parking lot. When we asked about that, and I specifically asked that question of the state's attorney in our meeting, and her exact words to me were, that would be just muddying the waters. We want to get this guy, right? That's what she told me. And they really muddied the waters. They really got this guy. You know what I'm saying?
How could somebody be hit and killed in broad daylight, and be on video, and have his killer, alleged killer, on the video, and call it anything other than what it is? Now, when I did speak to the one detective, Baltimore City detective, he had indicated to me that actually they didn't want the manslaughter. They actually wanted a higher charge of murder of some kind.
Right. He was talked down on that. That's what I understood that happened to.
Yes. So, I mean, this is totally devastating. You know, I mean, anybody that listens to this story should be totally outraged, unless you're a member of the Simpson family or a friend of the family. But other than that, you know, justice is not being served. And I thought it was very kind of you to feel that you didn't want this particular gentleman crucified. In one of the conversations we had, you weren't looking for blood or anything like that. You just wanted to see the justice. And
this could happen to your father, you know, your mother, your brother, your kids. You know, these things ain't supposed to happen. You know, people. You know, but I also understand that the kid, and I call him a kid, he's a man, 18. I'm sure he didn't mean to kill him, but he sure didn't show any remorse. He sure didn't show any compassion. You know what I mean? I mean, so you get what you deserve. You know, we've all made mistakes, but when you make a mistake, you got to pay for it. And this guy's not paying for it, in my opinion. You know?
If you're doing 100 miles an hour down the road and you have an accident and kill somebody, yes, you didn't mean to do that, but you were the one that stopped on the accelerator. And the analogy there is he threw the punch that actually killed your brother. So
right. You have to be accountable for your actions. You know what I mean? You have to be accountable. And in my opinion, he's not being held accountable. I would rather if this would go to a trial and 12 people would say he's not guilty or would give him 90 days, I could accept it better than the state's attorney just letting him off the hook. Because I don't believe 12 people in Baltimore City would look at this video and say, oh, this isn't heinous. This isn't, this isn't a terrible thing that just happened,
Yes. Well, I'm hoping that people will review our first video, and you'll be able to see in the comment section there that I had said that I thought that they were going to let this person off, that I wouldn't be surprised if they would let him off. Somebody made a comment that was pushing too hard for a murder charge, but right. I mean, I don't know how anybody, like you're talking about a jury, any one of the residents of Baltimore could look at this, other than family members, I said, or friends of the Simpson family, and see any differently that he killed him. So
maybe you guys know the answer to this one, because I don't know the answer to this. Am I allowed to go to the state's attorney and say I want to see the full video? I want to see it all, because they're holding it back from me. Is that my right? Can I do that?
Well, I mean, you could always request it. I don't think that it's going to hurt for you to request. You already requested that one time, you said, and they wouldn't let you see it.
Well, no, what happened was they had a meeting with the family, and we thought that we were going to see these things.
So what is the reaction that your family has had about what you shared with them tonight?
Well, everybody's just shocked and stunned. Everybody's feeling like they've been let down, like justice is not being served. Most reaction, and to be honest, I haven't had a chance to call my sister yet. When you first say it to somebody, they don't even respond, because even when I heard it, my brain can't pick up what you're telling me. Is so ridiculous to me. That it's just disbelief. It's just, I'm stunned, is I guess the best way to describe it from everybody I've talked to.
Very sorry personally, losing my friend, and I'm very sorry to everyone in your family and any friends of Stan's that feel the way that I do and the way that you do. And we're going to put this out there as much as we possibly can, as we have been doing.
Well, I appreciate it very much.
Call anytime. I'll keep you abreast of everything. I'll let you know when the video's out, and we'll keep our fingers crossed that we can actually put so much pressure on the Baltimore City State's Attorney's Office that they regret the day that they ever did this.